Uncovering new research when it comes to women, alcohol, and the risk of cancer. Dr. Nancy Snyderman is NBC's chief medical editor. Nancy, good morning to you.
Hi, Meredith.
I feel like for years we've been told if you have one drink a day,
right,
specifically red wine, it's good for your health. Now we're hearing that all of this wine can actually cause cancer.
Confusing.
It is confusing.
And I think one of the problems is that one drink a day of dark alcohol that's good for your heart or your brain was never meant to be a health guideline. It was just something that we found that, in fact, the chemicals in it tend to be good for your heart. But now this study in Britain of almost 1.3 million women showed that women who have one drink a day, whether it's a Chardonnay or a beer or a glass of scotch, it doesn't matter
what kind of, okay.
Doesn't matter. Even that innocuous glass of white wine increases the risk of breast cancer of the breast, liver, rectum, and the upper aerodigestive tract, which means everything from your mouth to your stomach. And then they estimate, because women in Britain drink similarly to women in the United States, that 5% of all cancers among American women in mid-age are in fact due to alcohol consumption.
But you also say that there's nothing really new in this study.
I think this is cumulative. We've, for years bandied around the fact that alcohol consumption, 3 to 5 drinks a week, increases the risk of breast cancer. Now they're saying, you know what, there may be no safe at all. There, in fact, one drink a day, one drink every 2 days may be enough to bump it up. And they're also expanding not just from breast cancer, but to all these other cancers. So I think it leaves people sort of in a quandary. Do I worry about my heart and my brain, or do I worry about the risk of cancer?
Well, what do you do with this information then?
I think you take it with a grain of salt. The reality is men get a free pass here. Men metabolize alcohol differently than women. And there is, that seems from this in a rather definitive way, a carcinogenic effect to alcohol. So, I personally will have a glass of red wine when I have a meal, because to me that's part of a meal. And you have that glass of red wine with great respect. However, if I'm in fact worried about my cancer risk and I'm a middle-aged woman and you really don't enjoy alcohol and you really don't need it, you might say, you know what, for me, I'm not going to take this alcohol, but perhaps I'll talk to my doctor about taking an aspirin a day to keep my arteries clear. I think you have to sort of weigh the pros and cons, but the study was well done and it is rather definitive.
Is it a greater trigger if you have a history of cancer in your family?
No one has looked at that.
Yeah.
What they really did look at was absolute alcohol consumption. The one sort of not so great part about this study was they didn't look at a drink a day or 7 drinks on one day, but they averaged it out. And I think the reality is here, if you want to drink alcohol, know why you're drinking it. Don't drink alone. Consider it part of a food group, but recognize that everything you put in your mouth has its pros and cons. Your brain may be a little better, your heart may be a little bit better, but if in fact you're at risk for breast cancer or any other cancer and you're midlife, you may be taking a little bit of a risk.
All right, Dr. Nancy Snyderman,
I wish I had better news. This is really weigh it both ways and use some common sense.